We are back at it again. I'm very excited for today's conversation. Every once in a while, generally monthly, we've had a 1016 artist that we've been able to highlight and just hear more about their music, why they wrote the song, but also what's happening in their life and what they're currently experiencing and what's coming up next. So today, without further ado, he's one of my favorite storytellers. He does it through music, he does it through words. Steve Bell is joining us today. Steve, thank you for taking some time to chat with us.
Nice to see you, Holly. Thank you.
Yes, well, we have your current single, Pentecost, at radio right now. And so, huge thank you to all the stations who have added it.
I appreciate
Um,
that.
but we found the timing really interesting because this is the season. So, share with us a little bit about why you wanted this timeline for this song and then about the song, because it's one of those Christian holidays that we kind of overlook.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, there's not. Nobody buys a Pentecost album.
No.
Like people do Christmas albums every once in a while. You get someone who might do an Eastery thing.
Yeah.
Pentecost is, I mean, the birth of the church.
Mhm.
It's it's the continuation of the incarnation of Christ in the body, right? So
Yeah.
it's quite a profound season. I grew up Baptist, and we Baptists didn't really celebrate Pentecost because we were really worried about the Pentecostals, and
Right.
because they take it too far.
Are you using drums in your church? No, I
Yeah.
kid, I kid.
So it was, but I was actually doing a service in Seattle with Malcolm Guite, who's an English poet, several years ago. And as we're preparing for this service, he was going to be preaching and I was going to be singing. He said, "Do you have any Pentecost songs?" And I said,
Mhm.
"No." And he said, "Well, can we write one, just so we have something?" And I said, "What have you got?" And he had a poem, a little sonnet on Pentecost, and he read it to me. And right away, I could hear, oh yeah, we could repeat that line for a chorus. My brain immediately knows how to kind of turn something like that into a song structure. And then you'll get a kick out of this. So we got the lyric sort of structured into a song lyric from a sonnet, and
Mhm.
then I picked up my guitar and started to write a very typical ballady, beautiful, slow Steve Bell song. And Malcolm was just sitting across the room. He had a pipe. If you've seen him, this guy, he's kind of a hobbit, and he lowers his glasses and pulls out his pipe and goes, "Steve, it's Pentecost. It should have some energy." so, so, and
Oh,
you've heard my music. I don't do energy,
yeah.
and so he kind of forced me to go out of my typical writing zone and write something with a bit more sort of pulse to it. And so that's where the song came from. So really, I mean, honestly, the song came about because we needed one.
Mhm.
I was super inspired. It's just like we needed a song. We didn't have one. He had a poem. I wrote it. And as an artist, it's really interesting because you really kind of always want to sort of celebrate the romanticized inspiration.
Yeah.
And those moments do come, but sometimes they're just a function of need. And you're like Wings of an Eagle, which is the song I'm most known for. I was doing a youth service and I needed a song for that
Mhm.
passage. I wrote it. I thought I'd never play it again in my life. It just served the purpose. And that's been the song that I'm most known for. So it's just kind of interesting to me. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because often I think for those of us who are not wired to be able to create music and write songs, it would, like, I feel, take a divine inspiration kind of moment, and I project that on artists like you, like, "Oh, he must have had, like, a
Yeah.
light from the
Yeah.
sky," and then you're
And
like, "No, I
sometimes
just needed a song."
Yep, yep. And sometimes that does happen. Sometimes you have these amazing moments and it really, really feels like you had nothing to do with the song. Like you were just in the way. You just happened to be the one that caught it as it went by. And I've
Mhm.
had a lot of those experiences, and those are really fun. They feel great. But but even as an artist, sometimes we need to serve the community and serve the moment, and sort of get out of our overtly artsy ways of thinking, and so no, this congregation on this Sunday needs this, and I know how to do that, so I will. And
Mhm.
so you do, and then every once in a while those turn out to be lovely, and so this one did. And so then we just thought, we haven't put out a single for, like, most of my music isn't all that radio friendly, so we thought maybe, and there's maybe
Yeah.
some this, and it is Pentecost, so we put a little video together and we put it out. We'll see if anybody wants to do anything with it.
Yeah, exactly. And I just love that we're celebrating that with this song, the birth of the church,
Yeah.
because and like you said, there's no Pentecost albums. We're not exchanging gifts at Pentecost. We're not like having family dinners, and yet that is quite the origin of the faith as we know it.
Yeah. Oh no, it's a profound feast.
Hmm.
It just hasn't been captured by marketers, and so I think that there's not a sentimental thing they can, like you can with Christmas, which
Yeah.
is fine. It's fine, but I don't want to be grumpy about those things. But the church calendar year is full of these events that nourish us and form us and reform us and refocus us. We they happened once in time. So
Hmm.
Pentecost happened a couple thousand years ago, but in the story of God and God's people, this stuff is just constantly happening. And this particular song, one of the takes of it is celebrating the four elements: earth, wind, water, fire, which are all present in Pentecost. You have the tongues of fire, you have the
Hmm.
streams of living water welling up into this language, you have the wind, of course.
Yeah.
The earth piece is us, Adam. Adam means earth, it means dirt. And dirt is just dirt. Unless you moisten it with water, unless you breathe life into it, unless you implant the fire of God's divine love in the center, and all of a sudden earth becomes Adam, human.
Hmm.
So it's not just the birth of the church; it's also the revelation of God's creation of the human person in creation, and how that relates to how God is going to reveal God's self. It's a pretty wonderful. There's a lot of depth to it if you want to start digging.
Yeah, no kidding. You're not just a songwriter. You are definitely like a theologian. You are
I know
a philosopher.
I know smart people. That's all. Yeah.
You know what? But you retain the information and then you share it in your incredible storytelling way. Like I said, one of my favorite
Well,
storytellers.
good. I mean, I'm glad. I mean, I've always loved the meaning behind things. I've always
Yeah.
sort of, since I was a child, I've always thought what I can see with my eyes and hear with my ears is the surface. There's something behind it. I've always kind of been intrigued by that.
Yeah. Was that something your parents fostered as you were growing up? Or were
Oh
they
yeah.
like, shh, stop playing guitar. It's too noisy.
Yeah, no, 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 no. My mom is a brilliant musician. She was I mean, she taught us to sing. We had a family gospel band. We traveled. We had records. We had matching outfits. And but she was also a very. She suffered a lot. She suffered a lot with anxiety and depression. And as an artist, that kind of the way she dealt with it was through beauty.
Hmm.
She wrote gorgeous music, but there was always sort of a subtext of sorrow there. And so I think from her, I even learned to know that when I heard something deeply beautiful, there was probably something sorrowful behind it, and I started to listen for that. So we need to think about our own gospel story. Behind the gospel is the death of Christ.
Yeah.
His rejection from his friends, all those sorts of things. And then my father is the storyteller. He was a preacher, a Baptist minister. He was a prison chaplain. For most of his career. He was a great preacher, a deep theologian, but in a very pastoral way. He didn't want to just tell you something that's, cognitively impressive. It,
Right.
it didn't translate on the ground. It didn't hold a lot of value for him. And so he always was able to take deeper theological concepts and then marry them to our life in a way to kind of go, oh, okay, that actually matters, rather than
Yeah.
memorize that and repeat it for a star in Sunday school.
Yeah. Although those are fun too. It's
Yeah.
very rewards driven, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Get a gold star.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, you talk about how there's like the beauty, but it's also birthed out of pain, and life is full of ups and downs. And people might think, for you, your life must be, all the stars, all the incredible things. But, I just saw on your social media feed that your family's been impacted by all the fires that are happening in Manitoba.
Yeah, my
How is
sister,
the season? Yeah.
yeah, my oldest sister, her name is Faith. Her and her husband live in Flin Flon. They passed her up there. So, and
Mhm.
that's where the big fire is right now. So it's right on the perimeter road of Flin Flon. So if the wind, I think, switches 20 degrees, that the whole town's going. So they
Wow.
were evacuated 2 days ago. 17,000 people. hospitals and seniors homes, and like when you start to think about the logistics of that, and people who've got
Yeah.
complicated health issues and food issues, and all of a sudden you have to, it's a 9-hour drive to Winnipeg. It's not uncomplicated. So so yeah, we're in the middle of that right now. I mean, she's safe. They got out. And so we're not worried about safety at this point. But it's a big deal. Their home could be gone in a day or two.
Yeah. How have you been able to use your faith to navigate seasons of grief or uncertainty? Yeah, how do you process that?
Well, I think you just grow older and you sort of realize it is literally just part of life,
Mhm.
So when I was younger, eventually life is going to get easier. Like I'll make more money, I'll be more secure in my job, my wife and I will have things more figured out, it'll be less stressful,
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And then that season never comes. It just, so you get over sort of one catastrophe or one scare, and then you breathe deep for a week, and then the next one comes, and it just. So I think it was about, I mean, I'm 65 this year, but it was about 15 years ago. It suddenly dawned on me, oh no, this is life.
Yeah.
I'm not waiting to have life, once this dark day passes or whatever. This is it. This is it. I need to find Christ in this moment. And Christ has promised, Christ never promises that he will spare us these things.
Yeah.
He said, but I will be with you to the end of the age. The promise is witness, not deliverance from suffering. So I don't hope for deliverance from suffering anymore. I expect it.
Mhm.
I've been through it in many, many ways, whether it be physical or relational or economic. I've been through it like many people have, and I wake up every morning and go, this is the day I've got. This is the day I've got to celebrate Christ, to celebrate life, to exercise the gifts God has given me for others. And so how will I do that? And
Mhm.
I might shed tears, or I might, have a beer with some buddies later on tonight and party about some good thing. It's all this,
Mhm.
it's all good.
Yeah.
So I think part of the trick is to get over the fantasy that it's not supposed to be this way. It
Right.
is, you
Yeah.
know, for this season, until the next age, this is how it's supposed to be. And
Mhm.
every day I have an opportunity to serve Christ and others in the particular day we're in. So I told a bit earlier, my mom is not doing well. This could be her last day, so there could be a lot of tears today for me, and in
Mhm.
this, but I don't know, so this is the day I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just take it for what it's worth.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And,
I
and,
mean
and just trust that God is in it, right?
mhm.
There is no, I don't have to look or hope God will be part of it. I don't pray anymore that God will help me through my day. I can't imagine God. I think God can't not help me. That's who God is.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't ask for that. I anticipate that this is happening right now.
Yeah. And you
So
never know what tomorrow will bring, right?
no, no, yeah,
So today's this day, and then tomorrow you are on a plane going to Berlin.
yes, yeah, pretty much true. Yeah, yeah. I'm heading out to Berlin in a couple of weeks for a Dietrich Bonhoeffer conference. So it's a
Mhm.
theological exploration. There's 20 people and a couple of scholars. Will be in Bonhoeffer's house, the house that he was arrested by the Gestapo in. So
Yeah.
it'll be pretty fascinating. For quite some time, I've been quite alert to the fact that Western civilization is in peril, and we don't know what that's going to look like. And
Yeah.
so, how do we prepare? How do you, like, if the worst comes, how do you be the Bonhoeffer? What work do I have to do? So when I think about music, the reason why, when I put my bands together, the reason why we have good concerts is because all these guys practice their scales in anticipation of doing a concert someday. And
Yeah.
when we go on stage, we don't do scales, we jazz, we riff off each other, we make music. So the question for me now is what work do we need to do as Christians to prepare for a very disorienting time?
Yeah.
And that might mean suffering, that might mean giving up our lives, it could be all sorts of things, but what are the scales that we need to be doing? What are the disciplines so when the time comes we can jazz, we can make music with
Mhm.
whatever we have in front of us. So this is kind of how I'm thinking these days. It sounds a little negative, and it is because I think we're in a perilous moment. But again, I want to be ready for it,
Yeah.
and so I'm going to figure out what that guy did and try to do some of that.
Well, take lots of notes. Let us know how it goes.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. We should talk again because that'll be a fascinating,
yeah,
yeah, thing. Yeah, maybe
because
write
I'm
a song.
guessing too there will be a song about it.
Always, yeah. Within a year, something will come out. Yeah, for sure. It always does.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Well, Steve, thank you so much for taking time today. I know there's so much going on personally with you and your family, but I really appreciate you sharing about Pentecost, the single that's currently at radio, and just like what's happening in your life. It's always nice to hear from you.
Always nice to see you and talk to you. Always appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, of course. Well, I am hoping we can do an update down the road with a new song that he records or writes in Berlin. But yes, big thank you to Steve Bell. His single Pentecost, again, currently going for ads as we celebrate Pentecost on a larger scale. And maybe one day it'll be like an Easter or a Christmas. But for now, we'll remember the start of the church through that song. So I do want to reiterate a big thank you to all the stations who have jumped on board already and are playing it. And now you got a little snippet as to how that song came to be and why. So have a great rest of your day, and we'll do this again sooner than later.